What's up, guys? Welcome back again to your Heroclix headquarters. Today, since we finally have Red Hulk in the MCU, I thought it'd be fun to talk about the top 5 Red Hulks in Heroclix. So without further ado, let's get to the list. Alright, coming in at number 5, we have the first ever Red Hulk from the Web of Spider-Man set. Now, this one only has the Brute keyword. He's coming in at a whopping 220 points. It actually makes him the most expensive version of Red Hulk. I know there's a lot of people hoping that this guy would have gotten a legacy card in the recent Smash and Destroy set. However, that just didn't happen this time. Hopefully, in the future, I think he would make a great candidate because this is one of my favorite Red Hulk sculpts. It just looks, so crazy. It's awesome. But this dude, starting off, actually has pretty decent stats. 10 movement charge, 11 attack, super strength, 17 invuln, and 3 damage with close combat expert. So he's easily 12 attack, 4 damage. Picking up some terrain, he could hit for 6 on his own, not bad. Then later on, he gets this special attack power that is a major earthquake. Give Red Hulk a power action and make a close combat attack targeting each other character, including friendly characters, within 3 squares. Each character hit is dealt damage equal to 4 minus the number of squares it is from Red Hulk. And characters who can use flight automatically evade this attack. So it's a really fun way of doing like an actual earthquake attack where he smashes the ground or something. And his damage values just go up and up and up. I think the first half of his dial is pretty solid. The back half, he drops to a 9 attack, which does suck for being 220 points. But at least he has like a 4 damage with Perplex, a 5 damage with Perplex. And he has poison, so he can still just be poisoning things. So he's certainly not worth the points in today's day and age of all these crazy modern dials. This guy could probably be like 80 points or something. But I still think it's a pretty solid version of Red Hulk, and it's got one of the best sculpts of any Red Hulk. So for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have the Red Hulk from the Deadpool set. Now, this Hulk is very near and dear to my heart since this was the first Red Hulk I ever pulled and played with. And I had a lot of fun playing that version of the Thunderbolts team from the Deadpool set. It had like Punisher, Elektra, Deadpool, and the Red Hulk. So it was a really awesome team. It was a lot of fun to play. And yeah, this dude has a lot of great keywords: Avengers, Circle of 4, Hulkbusters, Intelligentsia, Offenders, Thunderbolts, and Soldier. He starts off with just some generic charge, super strength, impervious, and a 4 damage with a special damage power that says he can use leadership, and when he does and succeeds, each friendly character that shares a keyword with him and is a lower point value can use willpower this turn. That used to be a lot better when that actually, when pushing damage was a thing, that would prevent you from taking pushing damage that turn. So nowadays, since you would pretty much, by the time you're giving them willpower, they're missing that, activation to use it, since the beginning of turn trigger has already passed. So if you wanted to, maybe you could house rule it that they get to immediately roll for willpower or something, or that they can use willpower on the next turn or something like that. I don't know. I feel like he could use an errata, but I doubt they're ever going to go out of their way to do that. Anyway, he also later on gets a special move power where he gets running shot and improved targeting hindering and a range value of 6. So that was pretty cool, surprise range attacks, but even at that point, he has a lot of close combat expert, so he was a lot more dangerous up close. And then you got a little bit of regen on the last couple clicks to heal back up. Again, 150 points in today's day and age. He's super overcosted. But I did have a lot of fun games with this guy back in the day. Occasionally hitting that leadership and giving everybody willpower, that would really come in clutch sometimes. And yeah, he just does 4 damage for almost his entire dial, and then he gets close combat expert and can do even more. So he's pretty deadly, gets some poison there in the middle. Yeah, just a decent dial, especially back when he came out. So I liked him a lot, and for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 4. Coming in at number 3, we have Red Hulk from the Fantastic Four set. He's got the Avengers, Codex, Fantastic Four, Intelligentsia, and Soldier keywords. He's got this really awesome Circle of 4 trait that if he hasn't been moved or placed this turn, modify his attack and damage +1, which is really good considering he has a full dial of poison. He doesn't really want to move. If you can, just get up there close, and start fighting a couple people. And then if he can just sit there, he can be poisoning them and making use of that Circle of 4 trait to just keep getting +1 attack and damage the whole time. And then he's got another trait that whenever he takes damage from an opponent's attacks, give him an anger token, max 2. Then when Red Hulk makes a close attack and he has an anger token, modify his damage +1. And after resolutions, remove an anger token. And if he has 2 anger tokens, he deals penetrating damage, including with poison. So if they hit him twice and deal him a little bit of damage, without KOing him, he could retaliate with penetrating poison, and then he'd have a +1 damage, and assuming he hasn't been moved or placed, another +1 to attack and damage. So he could easily be hitting for like 5 penetrating damage on somebody, considering he goes down to a 3 damage. So he'd probably be down to the 3 damage if he took a couple hits. But yeah, his dial's not bad. 10 movement charge, 11 attack with poison, 18 invincible, 4 damage with leadership. Coming in at 75 or 50 points. You've also got team player, team ability, so he can be copying stuff. Pretty decent stats and powers the whole time. A little bit of a short dial maybe, especially if you play him for 50 points. He could probably get pretty easily one shot with like a penetrating blast or something. That's really the only downside to him. As far as Red Hulks go, I think he's actually the lowest point value Red Hulk still to this day. So I think that definitely counts for something, especially since he has such a solid dial. But yeah, like I said, he's kind of easy to KO, and on top of that, he doesn't have any kind of super strength. Not that he really needs it, since he's got, so many other ways to up his damage value. But at the same time, it would just be nice to have to pick up stuff and move it out of the way or something. And I just feel like a Hulk character should have super strength at all times. But overall, he is still one of the best versions of the characters. So for that reason, he's coming in at number 3. All right, coming in at number 2, we have the Red Hulk from the, what was it? There's a OP kit. I think it was it Agents of Smash OP kit, or a Gamma Smash OP kit, something like that. I think it was him, She-Hulk, and A-Bomb came in that OP kit. And this one is one of my favorite Red Hulk sculpts, just because this is the only Red Hulk we've ever got that's, packing real heat here. And he's got a bandolier and everything, so this dude looks freaking awesome. But he's got the Avengers Brute Circle of 4 Intelligentsia, Avengers Soldier, and Thunderbolts keywords. He's got traded Colossal Stamina ability, which, if you don't know what that is, it's pretty much been replaced nowadays by just having willpower on a 3 through 6. However, it was officially ruled by WizKids, if anything, any traits or anything say that a character can use the Colossal Stamina ability, then it's supposed to be as if it's just written out on their card what the Colossal Stamina ability actually was. So essentially what this should say is, if Red Hulk has 2 action tokens, he can still be given a non-free action. However, if he does, after actions resolve, he takes an unavoidable damage and doesn't clear action tokens at the end of the turn. So that was, the whole ability of Colossal Stamina. It basically just means you can keep going and going and going forever if, you're willing to take that damage. And in this guy's case, yeah, I was totally willing to take that damage. Almost every time I played him, I pushed him all the way to his last click. So he's very deadly when he gets to that point. He does start with a special defense power that gives him invincible and willpower. I wish he had that for more than just his first click, but it is really cool. And honestly, I kind of feel like they just figured you were going to just keep pushing him with Colossal Stamina. And back then, willpower was just, you don't take pushing damage. So he really only needed the willpower on click 1, and then you're just supposed to keep pushing him, basically. But nowadays, you roll for the willpower, so you might be able to take a few tokens off before you have to start using Colossal Stamina, because the whole point was to get to his last few clicks where he gets his awesome special attack power, which is give Red Hulk a power action and make a close combat attack targeting all adjacent characters. When he does, he deals each hit character damage equal to his click number -1. So if he's on his last click, which is click number 7, he's dealing 6 damage to everybody adjacent to him. So he had some pretty massive damage potential, as long as he just didn't get sniped, because his defense was pretty low at that point. So yeah, there's a big give and take to him. But I think overall he's got a pretty solid dial. Starting off with a 9 movement charge, 11 attack, super strength, 4 damage. kind of like a lot of these Hulks, and having a 5 range, actually just on dial 5 range. There's a few Red Hulks that get range through special effects, like my number 4 pick, but this one just actually has built-in range, which is really cool to see and very different. And, you know, he's 100 points, which again, you know, 100 points back in the day, that wasn't that much. Now it's definitely, you know, you could definitely do better things for 100. But all in all, this is still one of my absolute favorite Red Hulks. I really thought about putting him at number 1, but it just didn't quite make sense. But honestly, this is personally one of my favorite Red Hulks still to this day. And for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 2. As always, before we get to our number 1 pick, we have a few honorable mentions to take a quick look at. I don't want to spend too much time on them because I actually have quite a few, but quick shout outs to both of the Incredible Hulk set Red Hulks. You know, one of them like 155 points, the other's like 178. They're both decent, you know, just a lot of points. They start out pretty low defenses, and, you know, they kind of have those Hulk dials where they get stronger as they take damage, which is neat. But yeah, overall, I just feel like they're kind of okay. But the next honorable mention is the Fast Forces Red Hulk from the Deadpool set. So this one, just not great because it has like an activation click. You know, click 1 is just Earthbound, Neutralize, and Outwit. I mean, he does have traded leadership, and him and adjacent friendly Thunderbolts can use stealth, so that's awesome. That's pretty much all he does. I mean, he does have shield team ability also, so he's very team friendly in that sense, but he's like 150 points, and you have to wait for him to take damage. So that kind of sucks, but again, this is one of the few Red Hulks that has range. He actually has a printed 5 range on his dial, so at least he can be kind of sniping things from his stealth with like a 10 attack, 2 damage, so he's not totally useless. But yeah, honestly, he's just way too many points for a character that has to wait to get hit to be really strong. He's kind of just a really expensive support character until then. So he's just an honorable mention, and then last but not least, we also have the Uncommon Red Hulk from the Mighty Thor set. So this guy always felt kind of overcosted to me. He does get really strong in like the middle of his dial, but when his stats are really high, he gets leap climb, so he doesn't actually have any type of you know, movement attack other than the beginning and end of his dial when he's a little bit weaker, which is weird. On his last couple clicks, he does have this really cool special Impervious that when he uses it after resolutions, you can remove any number of his heat tokens to increase his D6 for Impervious, so it can make him a lot harder to KO, which is nice. But honestly, having both the Powered by Rage trait that gives him a Rage token whenever he takes damage from an attack, and also having those heat tokens whenever he also clicks damage from an attack or is targeted by Outwit, like, bruh, it's just a lot to keep up with. Like, which one, you know, you have to really keep track of how many Rage tokens do I have, how many heat tokens do I have. I mean, he also had traded Poison, which he could use within X squares, right, based on how many heat tokens he has, which is also cool. So, I mean, he was pretty decent, but like I said, he just always felt a little overcosted to me, and personally, I never wanted to go through the headache of trying to keep track of both the Rage and the heat tokens. But besides that, like I said, he's probably like number 6 in Red Hulks. He's kind of decent. So that is it for the honorable mentions, except, surprise, 3 more honorable mentions. I wanted to just quickly shout out, we have this Colossal Red Hulk from the Avengers Infinity set. Now, the only reason he is not on my list, because he could have easily been like top 2 or 3, is really just because his real name is Robert Maverick. So he's not Thunderbolt Ross. He's a different person as Red Hulk, and that's fine, but I just really wish he was Thunderbolt Ross, because this is one of my favorite Red Hulks. I love the sculpt. Being a Colossal is so awesome, and it's a really solid dial. Like, he has traded super strength, and when he's given a move action, after resolutions, destroy all adjacent pieces of blocking terrain, and then he can use Quake at no cost. I feel like that's even better nowadays with like the changes to Quake and everything. And yeah, he's got like a 10 movement with leap climb, and he's giant size, so he's got, you know, all that willpower and everything, and just a really, really, really long dial for 200 points. It's like 16 clicks. Even at 100 points, he's got a really long dial of 9 clicks, and you basically just move him up there and Quake everything. And I don't know, I liked him a lot. He's fun. Then we've also got this new Compound Hulk, which is like a fusion of Red Hulk and Green Hulk, so that's really awesome. Although I'd pretty much classify him as like a duo figure. Like, this is not just regular Red Hulk for sure. So unfortunately, he can't make the list because of that. But I mean, he's got a pretty solid dial for 150 points. Whenever he's KO'd, you get to split him into 2 other characters with Hulk in their name from your sideline. You know, put him on the last KO click and heal him 2 clicks. So that's pretty awesome. And it's really funny if you have just a bunch of compound Hulks on the sideline, you can literally just turn 1 into 2 and then turn those 2 into 4. So if you can just fill your whole sideline with compound Hulks and just do a chain reaction, getting more and more and more of them. But yeah, he also has like the willpower and his defense powers are protected at wit, and he can roll a d6 and choose a red or green power depending on what you roll. So that's really cool. And then of course we have the Spirit of Vengeance Red Hulk, which is one of my all-time favorite Red Hulks. But again, he not only has Ghost Rider powers, but he also has a Venom symbiote on him as well. So he's got a lot going on there. He's super buffed up. The original version of him was super duper weak, but he just got a legacy card in Smash and Destroy, and I absolutely love it. It makes him essentially have a pilot trait where you can pick like 4 pilots that share a keyword with him on your sideline, and he can either get all of their attack powers or all of their damage powers, so he can have a lot of crazy stuff going on. And he's got this awesome special attack power that's poison, and if he hit this turn, he can still use it when he's moved or placed. And he's got 4 stop clicks in a row at the end of his dial, and each time he uses one, he can generate one of his, characters that he chose for his pilot trait. Power Cosmic Mystics. He's just freaking awesome. 200 points or 125. I really, really want to play this guy now. Like I said, the old version of him, the original version of him, was not cutting it, but I'm really, really happy we got an awesome legacy card for him. I was not expecting that, but it's so cool. But again, like I said, these characters can't be on the list because they're like enhanced versions or alternate versions or whatever. But I really wanted to give them a shout out because I like them a lot. And yeah, I've definitely talked way too much about my honorable mentions. So without further ado, let's get to my number 1 pick. All right, so coming in at number 1, if you haven't guessed it by now, it is in fact the new Red Hulk from Smash and Destroy from the Play at Home kit. I know I just did an unboxing for this Play at Home kit, and I didn't talk too highly of this Red Hulk. I was kind of throwing you guys off a little bit, but he is, in my opinion, the best regular Thunderbolt Ross Red Hulk that we have in the game. Now, I think my number 2 does come pretty close, considering they're both 100 points. But starting off, this guy has the team player team ability, so he's copying any team abilities on your team. Maybe he could get Wakanda for stealth. Maybe he could get Spider-Man for senses on a 6. Maybe he could get Avengers for +1 attack. There's tons of options there. But he does have the Avengers, Hulkbusters, Intelligentsia, Thunderbolts, Brute, and Soldier keywords. But anyway, he does have traded Poison and Willpower, and when he uses Willpower and succeeds after resolutions, he may move up to 4 squares, and this turn he can use Poison regardless of having been moved. So that's actually really good. And it essentially gives him a sort of move and attack on that's, a little bit random, but it is possible to have that every turn. So that's really good, in my opinion, to be able to move for free. So it could increase his charge range, or if he gets hit off of charge, he could still move and then flurry, poison and whatever. It just gives him that extra mobility that's really useful. And his dial's decent, charge, 11 attack, super strength, 18 impervious, 4 damage, leadership, going into some flurry, quake, invuln, and battle fury. Then later on he gets close combat expert with the steel energy and plasticity, so he can hold people next to him and poison them and just punch them to heal with steel energy. And then on his last couple clicks he gets some regen. I wish he had higher than 16 defense, and maybe had a special defense power that was like stop regen or stop toughness. I feel like he could have a better couple clicks there at the end. But yeah, then he has this really awesome Gamma Bomb power, which is power action to generate a Gamma Bomb hindering terrain marker within 6 squares and max 1. And yeah, no line of fire there, just within 6 squares. And then this game, that marker has, at the end of your turn, roll a d6 on a 4 through 6, deal 3 damage to all characters within 3 squares of the marker, knock them back away from the marker, and then destroy the marker. So, 50-50 odds that it actually goes off. You might not want to waste the power action putting it down because they could run away before it explodes. but it might just explode that same turn and do a lot of damage. So, there's some give and take there. I really like that. It's a really fun trait. There's definitely games where he doesn't hit willpower and he doesn't hit his Gamma Bomb and he does nothing at all. And then there's games where he's hitting everything and he's popping off and he's a real menace. But I like him a lot personally, and for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 1. Alright, you guys, that does it for this video. As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. It helps me out a lot, and click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. If you'd like to help support the channel even more, check the links in the description for the Patreon so you can see your name here in the credits, and for as little as $1 a month, get entered into my monthly giveaway. So check that out if that interests you. But thanks again so much for watching. Until next time, this has been Heroclix Headquarters, signing off.